She has one property, and she's presenting it to the planner.
Yeah.
She actually came into one of our meetings.
They're not doing it.
Just curious. I
Because
stopped
of
small
wetlands
towns.
and whatnot.
I've been a wife for about 3 months. So
Yeah, the problem for tiny houses is really.
I think that might be the ultimate goal. Problem is the cost.
The only way to really make
The rest
is if you put it like
Then
permanently
we go
attached
from there.
to
So,
a.
yeah, well, I mean, it could go
This should be done.
Yeah.
But, you know,
The other
that
part
part's
of
not
that
great
is,
because
we don't own all the property.
most cities have like minimum lot size.
Plus you have the railroad tracks.
So unless you do it as some kind of like TV.
But for now.
She hates the word tiny home, so let's rephrase it to, like 800
Try and
square
connect
feet.
it.
That's not a funny home, it's a mini, I think
You can access downtown.
that's a great idea. Her project, she's had this idea for years. And she's been selling it. But I try to stay.
How you doing?
I don't know.
Somebody came to
Yeah, they check it off.
No, I think it was more.
I don't know, Johnny.
Like I said, I idea, but so somebody.
Good day.
I did not.
I think that's why. The idea, sure, is what young people move into their families.
Yes.
I did not do that.
That's the number one thing.
Oh, you didn't go? I didn't see it. I didn't.
Although, Germany in particular, they've developed kind of like shelters. They kind of like.
Like, just kind of like.
It's a safe place, it was weather protected, they've got little heaters in there.
Free spirit, I'm like.
I looked down here, it's like,
And she was asking.
But it's better than like a fabric kind of. You know, it's set up in such a, I don't know if you've ever seen like.
they're all like, so this
The gardens filled with antique, you know, at least these ones will have like a normal
weather up there.
They'll have a shower, they'll be, you know, within walking distance of town.
Safe green.
But we've had clear out shelters just in our road parks.
Tent cities.
Well, not really. The worst part is, we have to go back and free stuff, go over
I don't know.
you're cleaning it up there.
Yeah.
Kim, is Catherine coming?
Upstairs.
I was ready to push the chair out.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't really have.
You have to be creative in my
Oh, yeah. Walked down the street earlier, and I saw two people already going around the barricades. But we'll have those barricades removed.
I was hoping to have some developments to give them along with the bill, you know, besides just, oh, here's another bill. But I did it. That somebody's actually working on this.
All right, it is 6:30, call to order of the May 8th, 2025 City Planning Commission. Kim, you got roll call?
Got it.
All right, in front of you are the approval for the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda of the regular meeting on May 8th, 2025 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Or any support, actually?
Second.
You got a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Also in front of you is the minutes held from April 10th, 2025. What's your guys' flavor on this one?
I'll move it.
You got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, now is public comments. If you would like to address the City Planning Commission, you are free to do so currently right now.
Aye.
I'm sorry, name and address?
Yep,
Yep, name and address.
at
and then-
least your name,
Yep, okay.
if you didn't sign in. Colleen Halsman, 237 North Main. I'm looking at my name.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
I know
fine.
where I live. North Main Street.
Okay.
I don't know what to say. Well, I'm just curious what's gonna go on with the rate aid. If it's, you know, that's state, we already have a county, in the old flower shop.
Perkins.
Perkins, thank you, going in. And then if that section is considered the DDA, then why is everything not business? I mean, if the health department comes in, I mean, that's state, and then Perkins, the people are renting it now, that's county, supposedly, I don't know what goes on there, because 24 hours a day, you see people walking in and out of there, hanging around there Saturdays, mobile homes sitting there, them putting pictures on my garage door, which I don't know if it's them or not. So shouldn't there be like a business? I mean, because nothing's gonna generate anything for the city by them going there, and what's wrong with their building where they're at? I don't understand. You know, in parking, I read in the paper that, you know, there's gonna be a lot of people that's going to be, work there. And there's gonna be one parking spot left for people that come and go. So where's all that parking gonna go? If they're just gonna use it as a drive-through, like they say, is it gonna be like one way in and one way out, like on 21? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I feel that there should be, you know, businesses there. And I don't know what to do with Perkins thing, but I just thought I'd throw that in there one. Can I show you guys a picture of my garage?
Sure.
This was a few weeks ago. We just covered it up, and this was all during the same time when all those knife things were down at the parks and that. It was all within that same time. You know, we just bought the house 3 years ago. We're just trying to fix it up and live there, you know, but like I said, I don't know, you know, we just covered it up and didn't say nothing about it, but I just, you know, there's a lot of activity in that corner now, and I think a regular business, you know, 9 to 5 business, which they should be, and they're not, so, that's it.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Any more public comments to address the city planning commission?
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, before the next comment, I
Yes.
would ask the record reflect that Ms. Brady has arrived.
Yep. Okay, seeing none, I will close public comments, public comments, and move on to our special hearing scheduled for our special land use of Michigan Department Health and Human Services drive-through at 1022 West Genesee Street. Alex, take it away.
Good evening, Chair and members of
Good
the
evening.
PC. So tonight we have a special land use hearing for 1022 West Genesee Street. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services are requesting for a drive-through, an existing drive-through on the site. We're looking at sections 706.1 and 716.07. The applicant is requesting to operate drive-through to the principal use in the B1 district and to receive special land use approval by the planning commission. If you recall, a few months back, we had Frank Cycle, who was locating a business in a former bank and wanted to provide services to clients, food, through the former bank drive-through. So they came back through and provided renderings of stacking and how they're going to be utilizing that site, just to make sure there was no compliance issues with public health, safety, welfare. So furthermore, as we all know, the site is located in the four corners of the city at Main and Genesee there on the northwest corner, the former Rite Aid building, as everyone's familiar with. It is in the B1 district right now, neighborhood business. I have just some photos right now of the site as is. Currently, from the street view, as you can see, the former Rite Aid building. There is a view of the past operation of the existing lane of the drive-through, which you can see there's two service windows, if you will, and a bypass lane. as well as the drive up, based on the special land use, not the site plan review. Let me try to get my little pointer here. As you can see, the drive-through is here, and there's some proposed design changes to the drive-through. And we're trying to determine what that is. I think the applicant, through conversations, saying they're gonna be limited down to one, possibly not two, not sure, the drawings don't say that. And that the stacking requirements, although there's area here to the north, they're not depicted in terms of car stacking or how many cars they're proposing for stacking going back on the use. What would be occurring on the site. Drive-through requirements range based upon whether it's a pharmacy, a bank, food services, those are listed. And for the PC to determine all the other types of, whatever the services may be on site and what would be the requirements or to degree of the intensity of the use of the drive-through. So I think that's something to note about the site design and what may be occurring. Additionally, there is the loading zone here that's proposed on the site plans along with the parking spaces. So it's all pretty tight in terms of what's there on the existing site. But if there was a higher intensity of use, there's going to need to be on the site drawings for stacking capacity there and the standards. So going back to special land use standards of approval, there's a few. A being compatible with according with the goals and objectives of the master plan. So the findings were that the subject parcel was designed for general commercial business in the master plan. The drive-through the existing use is consistent with the master plan goals for future land use designation regarding encouraging business expansion or growth. Key note here, this I don't believe is a business. It's more of a governmental services, but something along those lines. Standard B, promote the intent of the ordinance in the zoning district in which the use is proposed. Facts of finding, existing building is vacant in B1 neighborhood business district, in an appropriate location for the business with the drive-through activity. The intent of the B1 neighborhood district is designed to meet the day-to-day convenience of shopping and services for persons residing in the adjacent residential district. Staff comments, the intent of this appears to be servicing the entire county or larger rather than adjacent residences, and an increase in traffic what may be a concern here, noting also special land use for drive-throughs. Standard C, be constructed, operate, maintained, so as to be compatible with existing intended character and general vicinity of the area. Noted that this is a existing structure, of course. The parcel is surrounded by residential to the north, west, and the surrounding parcel. So the building is previously used for drive-through for a pharmacy. The proposed use needs to be determined, and it's a compatibility with the surrounding residential neighborhoods. Standard D, be served adequately by public facilities. As we know, there are facilities on the site, but some comments from the engineer regarding traffic and road and where that the subject property is located along West Genesee Street and has existing utilities and services to the property. The subject parcel has an existing parking lot, appears to have adequate parking, but as a regional destination may increase parking demands. The required stacking spacing appears to interfere with the use of parking spaces along the western side of the building. Staff comment, my comments are the site has existing utilities that service the subject parcel. However, it does not appear that the applicant has proposed exterior changes to the building. With the drive-through, the location of a loading space on the site and the potential conflict between stacking spaces and parking spaces should be considered. In standard E, not involves uses, activities, process, materials, or equipment, or conditions of operation that, in comparison to the permitted uses in the district, would be detrimental to the nature, environment, public safety, welfare, or reasons of excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, odor, and other such nuisances. So back to the finding, the applicant has proposed exterior changes to the drive-through on site. Currently, the site is a vacant pharmacy. It is to be determined if the proposed drive-through would increase traffic, noise, smoke, odor, or nuisances. The applicant needs to meet all standards for drive-throughs, such as stacking and completing set of drive-through designs or alterations. The impact of stacking spaces is related to the location of drive-through window, existing parking spaces and loading zone, including barrier-free spaces, potential conflict between vehicles circulating the site. Staff comment is, it needs to be determined if the proposed use would be detrimental to the natural environment, public health, safety, or any public nuisances. However, the internal circulation of the site, in particular location of stacking spaces, should be reevaluated to produce the potential, I believe, for conflicts. So staff recommendation is that the special land use requested by Green Builders plus Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for a drive-through located at 1009 West Genesee be postponed until more information is provided. The design and stacking requirements need to be determined to meet all the standards in section 71904 in the zoning ordinance. The following conditions: the applicant submit revised site plan that addresses the potential for conflict between cars stacked parked along the western side of the building as well as the north in the loading zone and vehicle parking. Noting that the stacking requirements for drive-through facilities, it appears that the existing 2-lane drive-through will be reduced to 1 lane. That's to be determined. The applicant will provide more information tonight. Design proposed changes were not provided. The proposed dimensions on the plans as is are 17 feet 8 inches by 15 8 inches, so that there's a difference there from the existing site. The required dimensions are 20 by 10, so it's slightly different in terms of proposed and requirements. It appears to have sufficient space. Additional stacking dimensions are not provided. The previous use required 3 spaces per window for a former drive-through pharmacy. The PC will need to determine if more information is needed for the proposed use. Like I said, we're learning more about the use, and the applicant's here to provide information. And if the applicant is providing sufficient vehicle stacking for patrons awaiting any type of services.
Mr. Hickle, can I jump in for a second? Because I have a question about it. So you indicate the previous use required 3 spaces per window. You know, I'm not entirely convinced of what the current proposed use is even going to be. Is that something the planning commission has to determine, or something the ZBA has to determine? Or could determine?
Yeah, so some of those items are detailed in the site plan review, but going back on that, it's an excellent question. So the applicant provided information, I think they're in your packets, a whole host of uses. And so, you know, given that all the list of uses and what we have in the zoning ordinance, I think it's incumbent on the planning commission to provide direction on what that use is. And generally speaking, typically, they're not matching up 1-for-1, which I wasn't able to. The ZBA would be, could be utilized to determine a use determination, so that the applicant and the ZBA can determine what the use is and how it would comply with the zoning ordinance.
Because this is such an odd kind of proposal for the site, I want to make sure we're doing things legally, and that seems like, to me, the best course of action is to make sure that they have the opportunity to weigh in on it.
Thank you. Probably open public comments right now, or public hearing?
Chair, may I
Oh,
add
yep,
to,
yep, yep.
in your suggested motion that I provided you?
Yes.
It's a little longer, but given the circumstances of tonight's agenda and the uses, I've added not only approval with conditions, but tabling as well as denying. So there's motions there that correlate with the comments that I provided in the findings, so that you guys could, you know, either approve the conditions that comes back to me, or table, which would have to then come back to the planning commission, or deny. So that'd be for the special land uses and other uses for tonight's agenda.
Thank you for clearing that up. All right, and I will open it up to the public hearing on this subject, and if you would like to address the commission or talk about this, I think the applicant is here. If you would like to address you can just state your name and, yeah.
Go ahead.
Gary Slayman, Green Builders Bus.
Taysir Hamoud, Tan's Holdings, on behalf of the ownership of the property.
Good evening.
So, first of all, you know, in terms of the drive-through, you know, the drive-through, it will be down to one drive-through. One of the bays will be removed, and secondly, the drive-through will have a less intensive use than the former Rite Aid. What MDHHS wants to use it for is for, sorry, I'm not remembering this. Handicap pilot, just for people who are unable to get out of the vehicle, they would be able to utilize the drive-through. And again, it should be a much less intensive use. So we have data on how many cars were at the Rite Aid when it was there. It was averaging about 561 cars a day. And now MDHHS is expecting less than 100.
And for the drive-through, actually, they feel, since it's a pilot program, they don't even feel they may have 3 people a day, they may even use it. So you're talking the drive-through is on, stacking is not even an issue.
Thank you for addressing that. Any questions for the applicant?
Can I just,
Go ahead. Sorry.
so I wanted to clarify, when you say that the former pharmacy had 561 per day, you're talking about the entire parking lot, not just the drive-through,
The traffic,
correct?
yeah, the traffic. not
Traffic
just
in and
the
out.
drive-through. Correct.
So when you say that this will be less than 100, are you talking about the entire parking lot?
The entire.
So did you have a projection of how many people, if it's just for people that are handicapped services, does that mean if somebody comes up there that's not, they're gonna deny service to the drive-through?
No, then people just come, actually, they do it all by appointment. So I wish they were here to explain that, but they say they take it all by appointment. And they expect between 10 to 20 appointments per day,
Okay.
and that's it.
So you could
And they're
just,
closed Saturday and Sunday. It's Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. So the use will be 90% less traffic. And the drive-through, the first few months may not even be used at all, because they say it's a pilot program. So how many people are really handicapped that can't get out of the car? You know, from when I asked the question, they said they'd be surprised if they have 3 people a day that may use it.
If I may.
Yep.
So you stole one of my questions, thank you. But, you know, you guys keep saying these things to us, and I appreciate the fact that you have this knowledge, but has this been submitted on paper to our planner? 'Cause
It hasn't been asked, but it can be provided easily, and I believe I know the letter they provided should detail what they do, but if there's an issue or concern of the amount of people, I can get
Well,
that and
because-
provide it to you from the governor's office direct, no problem.
Because here's part of the problem. You guys are up here, you're representing ownership and development, but you guys are not gonna be the ones using the building.
Correct.
So you're gonna tell me there's 1 car per day that's gonna be in this parking lot, and then these people show up with users, and they have 10,000 cars per day. And I'm gonna say, well, hold on, you can't have 10,000 cars per day there. We were told you were gonna have 1 car there per day. But that was you, not them,
Right.
right? So I need to be able to have them tell us what the use is gonna be. And my-
That's not a problem, we can provide that.
Okay, then my second question would be, handy-capable pilot program doesn't tell me what the use is. That's a laudable goal, to give somebody the opportunity to use their motor vehicle to use the services. Well, I need to know, what are the services?
It's in the letter, I believe they provided. They will not, I asked them that question about what are the services, and everything is listed in that letter. There's nothing beyond that.
Is that-
Or maybe he can address that.
What I understand for the drive-through, it will be used to exchange paperwork, and that is about it. In terms of, again, handy-capable people who are not able to get out of their vehicle to exchange paperwork.
Okay, so exchanging paperwork takes 2 seconds, but if we're talking about like a full-blown, therapy session of some kind, right through the drive-through, that could take a lot of time, which then causes the stacking issues that we've been concerned about.
Again, I believe that it is solely for the exchange of paperwork and not
you
Okay,
mentioned.
and what are you basing that belief?
This is
on?
what our conversations with MDHHS.
There's actually no therapy services listed on the letter. I mean, there are other services, if I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I didn't see any therapy
Correct,
services.
yeah,
on there.
anything like that, they would have an appointment if they had to meet with people. This is primarily just to drum off that paperwork. Sometimes somebody had a death in the family and they're trying to get, the money that they left behind. It's all primarily paperwork, and we've had those conversations.
Would it be,
Sorry, I was gonna apologize, maybe therapy is not the right nomenclature, but something that takes longer than dropping off a piece of paper, I guess is what it
Yeah, I think they would do it inside according to what they've said to us.
I had one more. Oh,
Yes.
Go ahead.
No.
My other question was, is there a way, I mean, obviously I see all these services and I think most of us understand kind of what they are. Is there a way, just so that we can understand, like, what, if you looked at all those services, could you kind of generalize that into one type of service, like, so that it's, I mean, obviously there's different programs here, but a program isn't necessarily what, I mean, it can be a service, but I guess, is there a way to actually say, these are basically, this is the service that they're providing versus like making a list of all these programs?
I think it's the typical state services, but we need to detail it more. I can ask them to provide something.
It's detailed, I just think we're looking for like one use that is gonna be used
Community
by,
assistance, community.
And it's just the city, within the city and the county, it's not going beyond, I think Alex mentioned beyond the county, it's not going beyond the county. They service just a certain few people, and primarily from the Lapeer area.
Alex?
So Chair, may I just
Yes.
interject here? I think the discussion of use is very, very, very important to this topic. I think for the special land use component, I think I want to stick not only the qualitative aspects of the use and what would be occurring during the drive-through segment. I think that the challenge here is, one, lack of information on the plans, the stacking requirements, and the turning and conflict there at the site of how that's going to be designed. So I think for the special land use focus right now, which is the drive-through.
Yes.
I think the focus needs to be that this needs to be postponed, with new drawings need to come back, the details, the design, the stacking, and any conflicts on the site, just based on just the, sheer dimensions that we're working on.
I think.
The use is important, but that does definitely goes furthermore into the site plan review, which is next on the agenda as well.
Okay, thank you.
I think we can maybe make this a lot easier for everybody. In my conversation with the state, they said since this was something they were thinking of using, a lot of people said, it may work, it may not work. So I said, well, what if there's a problem? They said, if there's any kind of an issue, drop it. They don't need it, they won't use it, and this meeting, it's nothing to worry about. They said, don't use it. I'll close up the window, and they don't even need it. That was what I was told. So if it's an issue, if it becomes an issue, because we don't want to delay the project any longer, because we have a timetable to at least let them open. So we can eliminate the drive-through completely. Not an issue.
So Chair, I think the thing here is not a matter of an issue, it's just the lack of information on the plans.
Well, we'll close up the window and just say that it's not going to be
Dimensions,
used.
the design, and, stacking requirements are provided, so the applicant can choose to go either which way, but I think the focus here is just lack of information.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, we thought we could help that way if it
Yep.
made that easier.
Thank you for that. Comment?
so are you going to be able to then, just so that everybody's on the same page, do you provide them like a checklist of like, these are the things we still need, or have you already done that?
Well, we got the site plans, you provide the review, so they have the same information that you have in terms of the comments. I've spoken with the applicant a few times on the phone, and that, the plans have changed over time, in terms of the parking design, layout. We're gonna use the drive-through, we're not gonna use the drive-through. And so now the plans for the drive-through have changed, they've been altered, just in time for this to get out. So, I don't believe the applicant has provided any additional information besides the stuff that you have as well. So, every applicant's permitted to come through for special land use for drive-through or other types of uses. It's just that we need to be provided the information that's necessary for, whether it would be approved or amended or postponed or denied, whatever it may be. So in this case, I think the relevant subject is the design of the site with the drive-through component wasn't completed. It wasn't complete for I guess, for you guys to make a decision, or for me to recommend a decision.
So to answer your question the best that I know, like you have mentioned, if whatever we were provided, and I had the architect actually dealing with Alex, and whenever the emails came in that we needed, and I think we had 2 or 3 emails that said we needed certain things. So each time we provided those things, when there was regards to parking, when there was regards to, or drop off of products. So everything that I believe, Alex, you've said, I believe we responded, and then we made the adjustments, and then I submitted once I answered every question. So there hasn't been a question yet that I received that we didn't answer, and if there is something else, I'll have the architect make the necessary change.
Well, that's why I asked the question, because I
And I
thought if
appreciate
there's
you
things that
asking
are
that question,
missing,
yes.
then to make sure that we're all on the same page, and so that when they come back again, we're got, like, well, that, you know, it would be just great to have like a written checklist, like, these are the things that, you know, we're not gonna make a decision here until we have this information. It doesn't mean that they're gonna get it, but we need these things from them. I think that would be helpful to give that, and then if they come, they come, and if they don't have it,
And I
whatever.
think to this point, we've done that, but Alex, you can elaborate.
Chair,
on
so
that.
Yes.
the same standards for special land use or drive-throughs hasn't changed in
It's
recent
not.
time. So the same standards have been there from the beginning. It's whether the applicant demonstrates those standards. I mean, it's the same information with all the requirements of site plan application that are provided. So it's incumbent on the applicant to demonstrate that they're meeting those standards. The same information is provided for every applicant, whether it's special land use site plan or any types of amendments.
Right, I just thought you had listed a couple, like, some things that they were missing, so that's why that's why I was asking.
Yeah, so the conversation was, they were gonna do the drive-through, wonderful, and provide the drawings, these are the drawings.
Mhm.
So,
Thank you.
what we thought was, you know, we provided everything that the PC had asked for. And so, I guess, will there be another group of things that need to be addressed then?
Chair.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the
Yeah.
letter addressed what the services are. We know it's the state of Michigan. The drive-through, I was told, if it's an issue, they don't really care. They don't really need it. They're not expecting much of a use anyway. It's how many people cannot get out of their car that's handicapped. They might have 1 or 2. I was told the most maybe 3. And if it was a problem, they said that it's not really necessary. They just wanted to try to have the facility to provide the services to the community by October 1st. So we were just trying to, for construction purposes and the way things are always delayed these days, it's just trying to make that schedule that they want to open up by October 1st and provide the services to the city, you know, to the county.
Thank you very much. Any more comments? Or thing? Good.
One thing,
Yes.
so, because we did get caught up with the drive-through and they're proposing that if that is an issue, they could simply remove that from the plans. Is that something that we make a motion to suggest? Do we want to vote on? I mean, what do we do about that?
I would assume we would just, if it's, well, we still have a motion in front of us that we either deny, table, or
Sorry,
approve.
Chair, there's no motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, yes, I'm
It's a
sorry.
public hearing
It's a
for
public
special
hearing.
land use, and
Yeah.
provide the report. There's been comments from the applicant, plan commission members in the planner, so, there's no motions yet.
Yeah.
What there is just shared information about the site, and my report is that there's compliance issues that they have not provided. So by the time they provide the report, their plans, I review them. At that point in time, that information then goes straight to the planning commission. If it's far well in advance and there's been no changes, but there has been changes from the original plans, those plans, that will be a letter that goes back to the applicant for the applicant to then address. And so there has been communication with them, the applicant, over the course of time. And there's been new plans that have been provided, as you've seen, that has been shared the last couple of planning commission meetings.
So,
Yes.
I have another question.
Yes.
So, and obviously, there obviously is a site plan review, which is a different issue. But if they say tonight that they're gonna nix they weren't gonna do the drive-through, they wouldn't need a special land use, right?
Correct.
But they still need to come back for a site plan review in regards to all these other requirements that we haven't got to yet, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When you say
So,
other requirement, I'm sorry, other requirements, because I know everything
So,
you've given me, we've
Chair,
supplied.
Yes.
those requirements would be part of the agenda when that presentation is. I don't want to mix
Yes,
Right.
we're
the
still,
uses,
yeah, yes.
the site plan requirements and the special land use.
Yeah, we're not-
At this moment,
we're
the
keeping it-
recommendation was for me, was to postpone, to allow the applicant to adjust their plans to come before you so that they have that opportunity to pursue a drive-through if they wish, based on revising their plans, based on the comments that were provided to you and to the piece of the applicant.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. All right, any more public comments?
Yeah, my name is Dr. Hamoud. I'm kind of the owner of the property. We dealt with a lot of cities. We never have the experience this. Pharmacies are gonna use a lot of cars to come pick up, you know. I don't believe this is the issue. The issue is underneath something. I don't wanna waste your time any longer. If you don't wanna approve us, we'll do what we need to do,
Thank you very much.
okay?
Thank you.
This is just a waste of time. This is the third time we're here, and you're doing the same thing. We had asked anything we need to give you to approve us. They said, no, everything we have. Now,
The only thing, actually, my question right now is, you said some compliance issues. I'm not aware of any compliance issues. This is something new you've just told me. So if there are some compliance issues, give me the list and we'll address it.
Chair, this is the time for that list, that the applicant demonstrated that there was going to be no changes. Now, there have been some changes. So
Which
part of that
changes?
review for all standards for site plan, for special land use, for a drive-through, need to provide the stacking requirements in the turning. And so, one, the dimensions aren't
well,
there.
you didn't say that to
Well,
us.
this is,
Well,
I mean, this is.
Sorry, Chair.
Let's
May I
eliminate the
finish?
drive-through.
May I finish, Chair? That information was just provided now to, well, recently, to both the applicant as well as the planning commission in the timing of when it was formally submitted with the application for review to come before you. So that's the timing component.
Thank you, Alex.
So everyone has the same information.
Thank you, thank you.
So if we eliminate the drive-through, can we move forward? Which was a good question you had asked. And you had
Sure.
asked.
Chair, may I comment on that?
Yes.
They would have to provide a new set of plans that demonstrate that that drive-through has been removed from the drawings.
Okay, thank you very much.
It would have to happen.
So, I mean, Mr. Chair, if I could
Yes.
just comment on that, I mean, I understand the frustration of the applicant, but of course, I've been dealing with this for a long time, and sometimes applicants just don't understand the process. You know, if we're talking about potentially removing the drive-through, I don't see any reason we couldn't postpone that specific part of it, because if that's the case, we don't have to vote on the special land use.
Yeah. Yes.
It then gives the applicant the opportunity to comply with the site plan requirements, but, you know, my issue is more with the site plan review anyways, versus the special land use requirements.
I mean, today it would be good for you to vote on it anyway. Let's assume it's there. I just thought if it would make it easier. Looks
Well,
like that's not making it easier. So
yeah.
it'd be good to vote on it and see, but like, it's gonna be less regardless. It's three, I was told 3 people a day at the most could use it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. Any more public, yes? You already, just want to restate your name and then you can address the.
Elaine Osmond.
We just have to sue them, that's all.
I guess what they're saying is the departments come in there, think they're planning, but we're just wondering about the drive-through right now, right?
This is
Just to
specifically about
eliminate-
this. This is
just the
the
drive-through.
public hearing on the drive-through.
Okay, so what I've seen since I've lived there, when Rite Aid was open, there's, you know, there is a lot of traffic there. And, you know, so it was always backed up. So if they're gonna bring people in to use that drive-through, you know, they're not just gonna be dropping off papers. It's almost gonna be like an appointment, really. So I don't know what their stacking thing is. The way that he showed it as a stacking, like it's gonna go into Jefferson. You know, because there's a road, you know, there's a entrance right there. So then they show the west where there's parking. I'd say no drive-through. I mean, for that, because there's gonna be dumb people trying to use the drive-through and people constantly coming into that place. If it's all the, Michigan, you know, the WIC people, everybody coming at, you know, their appointments, you know, there's going to be just as much traffic for that as there is for the Rite Aid that was there for the for people coming in and out. So, I mean.
Thank you for your
it is.
comments.
Yeah, it
Yep,
is.
yep, yep. Thank you for your comments. All right, any more from public? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open discussion.
I agree with Mr. Romack. I think that obviously they can decide to nix the special land use or not. I think we don't have obviously all the information, so we can postpone it and they can decide what they want to do, but we could still look at the site plan separately and decide what conditions that we're going to require. So, I don't know. I don't think we have enough information, obviously, to move forward on that.
Okay, thank you. Any more discussion?
Just a quick comment.
Yes.
So what we're looking for, like, the information we're actually looking for that we need is what's happening at the window and how long that takes, right? What's being exchanged, how long that takes, so we know how many cars are stacking up. That's what we're looking for, right? We don't have that.
So if I have
Yes,
a letter
they-
from the,
It's not, yeah.
We don't have that written
That would
down.
be within, yes, you're right.
so we provide a letter from the state of Michigan that says, you know, it will be less than, each transaction will be less than 5 minutes.
That would be the information we
Okay,
would
so,
need to get back to the
Let me
planning.
provide you that letter. I'll
Planning.
get it directly from the governor's office, no problem.
Thank you very much. All right, any more discussion?
I mean, as long as we're talking about this specific issue, I just don't think we have the information, really about the drive-through, which is kind of what we're trying to talk about, right? So given the fact that I don't think we have enough information, I see no reasonable alternative except of those numbers. Really, my concern is about the site plan review.
Okay.
It would be nice.
Yes, go ahead.
So I'll make a motion.
Okay.
So the motion is to table the special land use request by Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to permit a drive-through at 1022 Genesee Street because additional information is requested by the Planning Commission to provide a revised plan that addresses the potential for conflicts between cars parked along the western side of the building and loading zone and the vehicles parking for special land use.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Bosick and supported or seconded by Commissioner Brady. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor with, is it ayes fine?
Yeah, you can do aye, I just need to know if there's any nays.
Yep, no worries. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those
Yes.
opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. This will be tabled. All right, on to the next agenda would be to site plan of the same exact site. Of 1022 West Genesee Street. Alex?
Chair, yeah, so, part two of this is the site plan, so
Yes.
special land use that runs with the site plan. So, the applicant is requesting, a use by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to be located in the B1 neighborhood district. Just some general notes about what we've discussed in the past, I'm just kind of bringing back information that the building is at 14,400 square feet. So for potential use in this area would be roughly one space per 250 square feet of gross floor area of the existing building. And so essentially, they need to provide 58, they have 58 parking spaces provided on the site based on the plans that they've provided. The site would need 59, so the additional parking is provided vis-a-vis a easement agreement, the former junior white site, which is now owned by the city for 15 additional parking spaces. So the PC's consideration should also factor into the vision for the former junior white high school site, future residential uses, considering easement agreements and shared parking, future tax capture and highest and best use. So the use interpretation from the zoning board of appeals and interpretations for what the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is actually using along the long list. Going back on the site, as you're familiar with the site, it being at Main and Genesee. It's in the B1 district, as well as photos of the site, of the former Rite Aid drive-through and then the additional parking that's provided via the easement agreement at the former junior way middle school. Once again, the site plan and a close review of that site. So as you can see, the applicants detailed all the parking that will be provided on the site, as well as the handicap parking to the south by the entrances for employees as well as patrons on the site, so it's existing site. So regarding outstanding zoning compliance, regarding a written use of the statement, so the applicant has provided a letter providing that there's a lease, that the leasing space to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. So this time the PC shall determine what the proposed use and services are on the site, as well as the number of parking spaces on the site. Like I said, there is enough based on the provisions for the existing easement to the west. And then, of course, noted earlier in the comments were the stacking requirements for the proposed drive-through, which then obviously would trigger the special land use review. Regarding department comments, assessing had provided you an attached letter for the site. The building department noted that the building code and the cover sheet CS1 states 2015 building code. These need to be the 2021 building code. These are just easy amendments to the plan. Fire and public safety had none at this time, and that the Department of Public Works had provided an attached letter. Furthermore, the engineering did provide several comments regarding some maintenance of the facility, regarding the catch basins, the pavement, underground stormwater detention chamber located in the southwest corner, the limits of the stormwater detention, and then the proposed grades needs to be provided for the access for the handicap ramp for ADA compliance. And the existing colored and stamped concrete located in the island on West Genesee Street approach has been settled and represents a trip hazard. So there's some sites that, some items that engineering has noted like you would have for an existing site to come in compliance. Your standards of approval for the use, site design characteristics, building design, natural features, site access, emergency vehicles, traffic impact, other general development requirements, utilities, stormwater management, other agency reviews, and hazardous materials. So the staff recommendation is for Planning Commission to consider the following conditions to approve, deny, or postpone, that is, a site plan request. So staff recommendation is that the applicant is to receive approval from the ZBA for use determination. Applicant receive special land use approval, design alterations, existing drive-through stacking requirements. Applicant to satisfy all standing zoning compliance items and other department comments that were just noted, and provide a new set of plans for review.
Thank you very much, Alex. All right. Any discussion?
Mr. Riku, I know you're not the engineer on this, but the driveway exit specifically out on the Genesee, I mean, it's got one of those, what do you call them? Yeah, little islands that kind of force you to go one direction or the other. That seems like a really old design, considering we went from, was it 4 or 5 lanes at that location, I think down to 3 lanes. Has there been any consideration put into re-engineering that exit for higher safety and better turning radiuses?
That's a good comment. I think that's something the Planning Commission could direct the applicant or engineer to review to determine, public safety as well as MDOT compliance or County Road Commission compliance for turn and trip rate, generation on that site. So how, they can factor in from the planning and zoning perspective. I really can't comment too much on those.
So if right in where to stay, have stayed open, there's no issues, but now there's issues.
Sure.
Yeah, it says this address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Interesting.
Any more discussion?
I'll go back to what I was saying before. I'm still just not convinced. I mean, this is a lot of different uses being squeezed into one building. I mean, on one hand it's office, on one hand it's possibly municipal, although municipal usually means city, not state. You know, I just think we need the use determination.
Just so you know, it's exactly the same list of uses they had at the out on Suncrest Drive, that obviously their lease is expiring now, but that building they've been in for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. They're all those uses are in that, they were in that building. There's nothing different. They're all the same.
Have the laws changed in the last 30 to 40 years?
I'm just telling you that they're all the same uses of what they were in the former building.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
And had they moved into Suncrest 6 months ago, I'd probably agree with you, but, you know, the laws changed, the road went from 4 lanes to 3 lanes. I think it's our job to make sure that they're meeting with the legal requirements right now.
Well, I'm just indicating on the use. The use is the same as it was in the former building. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Yes.
To me, it just comes down to, does this qualify under the, what is currently zoned neighborhood, general business or whatever it's zoned? I mean, I know Rite Aid, right, if you wanted a gallon of milk or whatever, you go there and you use it. I don't know if this is that type of business or not. So I would need, I would need more security that this falls under this category. I mean, I can't say that it does or doesn't. I would just need clarification on that.
Okay.
I mean, not neighborhood business, I don't know. I don't know.
Sorry, not to breeze past the special lane use and the drive-through and all the other stuff, which is important and needs to be provided by the applicant. But yeah, I'm with Mr. Atwood, that's the incipient issue here. We need to know whether this is even permitted use before we tackle the rest of the stuff. And of course, the rest of the stuff can be tackled at the same time. You know, we're certainly not trying to delay the developer, even though they may think that, because we're going through our appropriate legal processes. But I want to see if this is a permitted use. I think the ZBA are the ones who need to tell us that.
But we do have the opportunity, if we so chose, to approve the site plan subject to the approval of the ZBA determining what that use is, correct?
Yeah,
That's one of the options on here.
It's stated in the, yes.
Right.
In F1.
Okay.
Of the list right there, yeah. 100%.
But it would, sorry.
Yes, no, you're.
Would it now need clarification on the drive-through? Like if a motion were to be made to approve pending the ZBA?
Yeah, I think it goes to satisfy, where is it? It was the last portion, we could satisfy all of it. Provide a new set of plans for you.
Right.
So it's on the third bullet.
Chair, just want to add.
Yes.
For opportunity for the applicant to, if they choose to go to these special land uses for drive-through, if it were to be postponed or tabled, they can then come back for the special land use component for that to be reviewed. It's for the applicant to decide. And so, along with the use determination and other staff comments, of the drive-through, I mean, there's an option there for tabling it so that the applicant can come back before you with the revised plans that they've met all the standards. And so that you guys could look at when the time is, when they're ready to.
When you sent your last report, I thought.
We have all
can't. The questions, comments.
Yeah, we can't, they had addressed.
Every time we received everything, we
And I
responded
get that, but
appropriately.
this isn't a time for public comment.
No.
All right. So, more discussion?
Okay, well, can I?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
You can make a motion.
I'll make a
Discussion.
motion to approve the site plan requested by MDHHS at 1022 Genesee Street because it meets all the standards in section 7-18.04 with the following conditions. The applicant is to receive approvals from the ZBA for use determination. The applicants to receive special land use approval for the design and alterations of the existing drive-through and stacking requirements. And the applicant is to satisfy all outstanding zoning compliance items and all other outstanding department comments and provide a new set of plans for review.
Okay, we got a motion on the board. Any support?
Second.
You got a motion and a seconded. Any discussion? Vote as in aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
And one. Sorry?
There's 2 no's.
There's 2 no's?
Nays are Johnson
3
and
nays?
Womack, correct?
That was a no.
And 3, okay. So the motion carries.
Yeah, motion carries. All right, thank you very much. All right, let's move on to other business of E&L Towing. They are replacing overhead doors at 920 in Mill Road.
Yeah, so we received a permit from E&L Towing at 920 DeMille Road for building expansion overhead doors. So the applicant is proposing a 653 square foot expansion to existing 2,753 square foot building in overhead doors facing DeMille Street. The subject property is currently zoned B2 general commercial.
I just want to say.
No, we can't address.
But I'm going to tell you, you put in the city at a financial risk, just to know that.
That's a great attitude. Appreciate it.
Yeah, especially you, Mike, you're going to lose it, you'll watch and see.
Now,
Sir.
Yep. The exact type of person we want in this community.
more.
Okay,
Keep more
Chair, if I may continue.
Yes,
on.
you may
So,
continue.
yes, I've highlighted here the subject parcel here on DeMille Street in the yellow box. The current properties is zone B2 general business. I provide some just street view of the site. As you can see, overhead doors facing the street, fencing, equipment, vehicles for the operations. Facing north from the south of the site, as you can see, there's an uphill fence, and there's obviously some vegetation and greenery, partially screening the site as well. Another corner site here at the 2 corners at DeMille, at the site as is with the existing fence, signage, and vehicles. The applicant has provided us with a site plan. I believe I zoomed in, yeah, so very well. As you can see that the proposed addition does meet our requirements, so that's not really the question here is your proposed expansion. The building does fit and meet all the requirements for the addition. The question here is the overhead doors facing public street. So what I noted was that, I missed the first time around, was that Oak and DeMille, when you have corner street, you technically have 2 frontages. With this site, there's overhead doors for the proposed addition on the back side, away from the intersection, if you will. So outstanding issues in compliance. So this is, let me just jump there real quick. So the overhead doors in section 71501C4 design requirements is that overhead doors shall not face a public street or residential district. The planning commission or building official, in this case the planning commission, can modify this requirement upon a determination that there's no reasonable alternative, and the visual impact will be moderated through the use of building materials, architectural features, and landscaping beyond that required in 71502. The applicant is proposing overhead doors that will face the Mill Road. The planning commission may review if there's any additional conditions for the site. So I don't have the authority to approve it. This has to come through the planning commission in the event for approval. Furthermore, 71503A2 fences and walls. So currently on the site, there is a chain link or a fence. Other fences utilizing metal, plastic, or wood slats shall not be considered an obscuring wall for purposes of this chapter. I want to note that this is an existing fence, technically non-conforming. The determination needs to be its condition, if anything. So the city may, in its review of the site plans for specific uses, allow or require provisions for greenbelt planting consisting of trees, shrubs, and that serve as a obscuring wall. So the applicant, if you, I want to go back, did provide most recently here, I include their most recent plans. They provided some, I believe, arborvitae, is that right? For screening that would directly line up with the street. So I just want to go back a couple of slides and show the visual. So I believe, and the applicant can confirm, I think the arborvitae would be placed right in this vicinity right here, between the two existing trees. Continuing on, so regarding fences, so obviously the idea is to be harmonious with the development of budding residential, budding neighborhood and land uses. So the applicant existing non-conforming fence is chain link and provides minimal screening. So the chain link doesn't really screen too much, but it is there. Additionally, I just want to note now that the applicant did provide information about their requirements for an impound lot, that there needs to be fencing, and that they do need to meet local zoning ordinances. So there's a balance here between those two things. So standing zoning compliance, yeah, so the fence and walls and materials and construction of the fence shall not contain barbed wire, or razor wire, electric current, or charging. So the applicant has existing non-conforming fence. It has barbed wire, razor wire on there. Like I said, it's a legal non-conforming fence. Fences and walls and maintenance in 715.03B 5A, that all fences shall be maintained in good condition in an upright position and shall not constitute an unreasonable hazard. Any fence which is not maintained in accordance with the chapter shall be removed or replaced. Any required fence shall be replaced. So the existing fence does have some deferred maintenance. That's for the planning commission to determine, not for me. And the planning commission may determine if the fence shall be replaced. Furthermore, that the assessing, fire, public safety, and the building department have no comments at this time. DPW did provide attached letter, I think it was regarding tap fees for the building expansion to the existing site. Of course, you have your standards of approval, which you're familiar with. And so it's the staff's recommendation that the PC consider the following conditions for approving or denying the site plan request. That it's the staff recommended that planning commission determine if overhead doors may face the public street or any additional screening methods shall be required. The planning commission determined that this fence satisfies city standards of compliance, and the applicant can meet the staff comments regarding so ultimately, I think the comment here is that it's the PC can determine overhead doors if they can face public street, any screening is necessary, or any compliance need to come up to speed. So I'm trying to provide as much information. The applicants provided information anytime I've asked. I've talked to Mr. Van Camp regularly, so we have very recent plans that are provided, and they've amended that too. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Alex. Do we have any questions or comments?
Yeah, with regard, maybe I missed this. So part of the issue had to do with the fence with barbed wire. That does that, or does that not meet city?
Well, it's an existing non-conformity, so they have a fence.
Okay.
If there are going to be any alterations to it, they have to come in compliance. So the razor wire wouldn't, and then, as you know, in the commercial district, chain link isn't a permitted fence. I know there's been some comments about chain link in some other areas or screening methods, but if the fence were to be replaced, it would have to come in compliance with the fencing and wall requirements of the chapter.
You good with that, Doug? All right. Commissioner?
I just didn't see the attached letter. It said there was an attached letter to DPW. I didn't have it.
That's just about the tap fees for the addition.
It's tap fees, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a tap
I
fees,
didn't know
just
the letter
standard
said.
stuff, nothing
Okay.
there.
Okay.
All right. Any more discussion or any comments?
I've got some discussion.
What?
So Mr. Hiku let me know if this sounds correct. So applicant wants to expand their building, they're intensifying the use of the building. They're putting in, or want to put in, an overhead or large door. Is it actually overhead or is it a sliding door?
I couldn't tell, I think it was just overhead, I think, yeah, even the applicant can provide more detail, but then the drawings that I have were overhead in nature.
Okay, I guess for my purposes, it doesn't matter because I would think any large sliding door is probably within the purview of that ordinance anyways. But I'm reading the language where it says, can modify this requirement, so it sounds like we could allow it to face a public street. Upon a determination, there's no reasonable alternative, which, based upon the site characteristics and the turning radiuses and how big it is, that could all be done. That the visual impact will be moderated through the use of building materials, architectural features, landscaping, etc. I drove past the site, the fence is in very poor condition. And I don't know if a couple of arborvitae are gonna be sufficient with a couple straggly trees to, prevent us from seeing this overhead door. So, one of the things that you and I talked about is, trying to be business friendly. I'm not sure we necessarily want to force them to remove a fence and replace a fence. Could you talk about some reasonable alternatives for screening methods if we were to allow them to keep a chain link fence in place?
Right, so like I said, the applicant can propose a new fence, they can provide additional screening methods like through landscaping, so if they're proposing arborvitaes, it's up to the applicant to either provide arborvitaes or at the PC's determination or other types of landscaping methods to screen the site. So as long as they're meeting landscaping requirements in the zoning ordinance. So yeah, they can propose either new fencing, alternative screening methods that they can demonstrate that would work, or landscaping. So it's kind of incumbent on the applicant to demonstrate how they would meet those standards. I hope I'm answering that question.
Kind of got it. Yes.
Can we go back to that ordinance for,
Fences and walls, overhead doors.
yeah, right there. Sorry, sound like a rapper up here. Can you define building official when it says planning commission or building official?
That could be building department. I mean, generally that's the colloquial term at times. I mean,
Could it be you?
no, I'm not the building official.
I was wondering why we have that in there, the planning commission or building official. I understand why, but why do we have or building official in there?
I'm not sure. I don't know the history on the amendment. I would say that it really depends on where it originates. So if this permit came to the planning department, which then provides to the planning commission. If there was an existing site, or they're doing some administrative review or alternative, new plans for approved plans that were going through the building department, then the building department could then handle it or manage that request as opposed to kicking it back up to the planning commission. So that's kind of the idea behind it.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Okay. The other part is the fence is already there. I guess my job as a planning commissioner would take this time to be like, well, let's make that current fence look better if we could. I noticed that the kitty corner, there's like a sign, I don't know the name of it, but they make like road signs.
Yeah.
They have a chain link fence, and I don't necessarily like all the white slats or whatever they are. But I don't know, did the planning commission approve that? Do you recall?
I don't recall, it's been there a while. So nothing nothing from that site came through other than just a zoning permit to put the use there. They didn't make any other changes. So I think the slats have been there for a while.
I mean, Mr. Atwood, you touch upon a problem we have in government, which of course is sometimes we don't find out about something until after somebody does it.
Right.
And of course, because we're under pressure from local business people sometimes to not enforce our ordinances, sometimes they don't get enforced. So it's also possible that they put up those slats and nobody said anything about it, even though they don't meet the requirements. But that's kind of one of the questions I have is, you know, does this board care, or do they want to allow something like slats or a tarpaulin or something to provide that visual barrier instead of requiring to say like a privacy fence? But, you know, in addition to that, I just think the fence has not been maintained.
I get that, and I think, to me, if they were gonna add an entrance on DeMille, a curb cut or whatever, I think then we're talking, you know, fence, they're lowering the elevation, but they're not doing that. They're gonna use the same entrance. It's elevated. I mean, for me, I drive by it all the time and I forget it's there, because it's just there. I understand, I mean, how it looks. I mean, they got cars in there. It is what it is. I don't necessarily think the trees are gonna make a difference in the whole area. If there's a way to fix up the fence and, you know, put some sort of slat, maybe not white, I don't know if there's any other color or material, but that's your job.
I think, yeah, well, no, I think, Chair, if I may, I think.
Yes.
Mr. Womack's comments as well, is that in the event of this case, it's unique, they're not proposing a new fence. PC can determine if a new fence may be, or alternative methods of screening could be. So whether it's landscaping or slats or something else that can help mitigate, you know, the view of the doors. So you could approve the doors, but you could maybe suggest or look at, you know, other screening, not just maybe arborvitae's. It's up to you guys, given that first is determining if overhead doors can be permitted, if screening methods need to be provided, and then thirdly, the fence is in good repair or needs to be maintained. So, like I said, it's not my decision. I provide you the.
You're not the building.
I'm not the building official. I just provide you how the applicant is either meeting or has outstanding items regarding compliance with the zoning ordinance. So it's for the PC to decide those things. I think it's, like it says there, that you guys are. So.
Thank you.
So let me ask this in a different
Yes.
way, so I'm sure I understand. The overhead doors facing DeMille, we've got a fence that is full, unsightly. We've got a proposal for the arbor vitae, however you want to say it, for a certain portion of that part of DeMille. In our, if I make a motion to approve this with the stipulation that perhaps they consider arbor vitae's for the whole stretch on DeMille, takes care of that one side of the fence, I mean, can we roll that into the language, and would that be acceptable?
Well, we're not looking at text amendments right now.
Okay.
I think right now we're just looking at this applicant and their request right now, and what the planning commission would need to see, because it's not a by right to put overhead doors. The planning commission could look at it, given that there's nowhere else to put it, the location of it, but then the items that balance into it is the screening methods and then the maintenance of the fence. So it's more of a decision that the PC can make on if there needs to be screening, if there is, what method, and then two, if the fence is sufficient or not, and then the condition of it and what could, you know, need to come into place. So there's a couple factors there.
And more specifically, you're talking about screening of the overhead door.
All resulting in overhead door.
That's it, okay, not the rest of the site. There you go, thank you very much.
I got one.
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, once again, overhead doors. I don't know what's going on with this issue. I don't even know where this started with this city. I don't know if I've been living under a rock, but it's like all of a sudden we're offended by looking at a door facing a road. It is disgusting. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's a business. There's garage doors facing all over this world. And all of a sudden we're offended by a garage door facing a highway. And this is something that I've discovered since being on this committee and this commission. And it's just, it's ridiculous that we're even talking about this for approval. I mean, there's no other way to get cars in that building without putting the door there. And it's just, it's a waste of people's time that we gotta sit there and argue about this. And yeah, his fence, maybe it needs fixing. I haven't looked at it in a while. When you drive by there, there's probably a 6 to 8 foot slope of grass going up to his property that if you're facing west, you're really hard pressed to even look up into that lot, period. So I once again, it is, to me, it's just ridiculous, and we need to address this and get rid of it. I found out about this when they wanted to build the car wash in South Main. That popped up that a garage door was facing the highway. It's like, I didn't know what to say then, and I still don't know what to say. It is, I'm done.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
I think we're legally obligated to follow the laws. That's what you're looking for. Discussion.
Law?
Yeah.
A law for what? A garage door facing a highway is a law? Seriously?
The city
Well,
commission
it's in
tells
the
us what the
city's
laws
program.
are.
So the city commission created this law,
Yes.
and you find that acceptable? I don't. It is ridiculous.
As a member of the planning commission, you can tell the city commission what your thoughts are, but this public outburst, I think, is inappropriate.
Call it what you want.
Commissioner Pattison.
Personally, I don't see any other way to have the overhead door. It's gonna have to face a street.
Oh, yeah.
So I have that. But we do have the owners here. Do I have permission to ask if they would consider
I will give you permission.
doing something about the fencing?
Yes. We'll fix the fence. It gets knocked down, beat up every winter from plows, snow, trucks, people back into it. We're an impound yard.
Yeah.
You know, things are in there all the time. We fix it every spring and every summer, and by the end of the year, it'll be in great shape again. But then through the winter, it's just wear and tear. Replacing, you know, adding, here's the other problem we've had with shrubbery on that hill. It blocks the view when people try to turn out on the street, and they've made me tear that out. They've come in and said, you gotta get that out of there, you gotta take them trees down, you gotta take that brush down. It's, you know, that place has been there since '81. None of them streets were there in '81. They weren't even at that grade in '81.
I wasn't here in '81.
Vice Chair Roberts.
No, he just answered that,
Oh,
that portion of the why the herba vitae wouldn't go the whole length. What I'm trying to do is, I see what you're trying to do, seems pretty straightforward. And if we can satisfy all components by doing something simple, I'm just trying to get that wording out. So, that's it.
That is why we propose just putting them, because you can only really see where the door is going if you're in the hotel parking lot.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming at it from an angle, the way the building bumps out to the south and the addition is tucked in behind, you can't see it till you get up to a certain point with the grade and everything. So that's why when this came about, we thought, well, if we just put some arborvitae's right in that section so that they weren't up by the fence so that they weren't impeding, you know, the view of traffic rather than doing the whole length of it.
Okay, that's a good point. The visual and the turning left onto that is not fun with the hill and everything, and all the use of the land. Simple as that. I 100% completely understand. Yes.
Can I ask a question as well? So you had indicated that it was a hazard because, and they actually had you said they had to remove the shrubs or whatever that was at the corner, or like near the corner. Who had you remove it?
City.
Okay. And so like how far, like was it on the corner or like how far down were all the shrubs, just like my understanding?
They were just probably about 30 feet from the corner.
Does that get you to like the front of the existing building? Or not?
Almost.
Almost, okay.
And these would probably be what? The new trees would be what? 100 feet over past?
Yeah.
About, give or take?
And you currently now that our ornamental tree that's there,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can see where the city's gone, DPW's gone along and arched
carved,
the top or the bottom so you can see it from the corner.
And they're coming back out, I just got the letter.
So I was just gonna say, maybe we could, that the proposed arborvitae's that are actually on the plan, maybe we could expand it to make it like where there's a longer, there's more arborvitae's, but it doesn't obviously go to the point where it's gonna be a traffic hazard, because we don't want it to be a traffic hazard for anybody turning.
That hill's very steep.
It's very, yes.
They can only be weed whipped, they can't even be mowed. And that's because they took my original property line was in the middle of McCormick Street. And they took that away when they added McCormick and moved me to the west. My property line actually extended to the west after that. So that's why, because originally my driveway used to be in the front there, next to that bigger tree is where that used to come in, and then there's one on the other side. Well, they took all those away, and then when they put that road in, and then we had the other driveway
Okay,
done.
Thank you.
That was it.
okay.
Thank you. My thoughts are pretty straightforward, is that I see zero problems with the overhead door, and honestly, the site elevation is efficient for me from the site, so I think that might be in the...
Could I just ask on this?
Yes.
So, this is one of the discussions that Mr. Rickfu and I had as well. I don't care one way or the other about the overhead door either, and I know we've approved the one over on Inlake City
Yes.
Road.
Yep.
And I suggested to Mr. Rickfu that maybe we need to amend the ordinance to just allow that by right.
Yep.
Because that's one of the problems, and one of the things I strongly believe in is if we're A, not going to enforce the ordinance, and B, we don't like the ordinance,
Yep.
just get rid of the ordinance. But, in the current circumstances, it is the law, and we need to have some kind of visual barrier.
Oh,
So
you're
but-
talking about visual barrier
So-
of the door.
Yes.
Okay.
The question, I think most, if not all, the board members are okay with the overhead door.
Yes.
The only issue I think we're really debating right now is what's going to be sufficient for a visual barrier.
Yeah, I don't really see a debate. If they're willing to put some arbor, there are trees there, I would say that would be perfectly fine with me.
Just the trees.
I mean, I'm agreeing with the property owner that the type of work and what happens on that property, if he fixes his, I know that they're gonna fix it. It's an impound lot. It has to be fixed. You cannot just walk in there. So it's not like when that fence falls down, you can't walk in there. It's an impound lot. You can't get in there. So the fence is always gonna be there, and it will get tore down and it will get hit, but he's gonna repair it if it gets anything done. So if we say put a wall up or a fence up there and it breaks, I just don't see why we would even need to go down that avenue. Just my opinion. And so, in my opinion, that is it. So, that's my opinion, that is it. So,
Still counts as one vote.
There you go. So, any more discussion? Okay, so I am gonna make a motion to approve the site plan addition to E&L Towing at 920 DeMille, including the overhead door facing the public street because it meets the standards of section 7-15.01.c.4 with the following condition: the applicant meets all staff comments. And essentially, it just goes back to the staff comment about the visual blockage, right?
No, tap piece.
Oh, sorry, tap piece. Yeah, there's no way around that one either, so. There's a motion on the floor. Any support?
Support.
All right, got a motion and supported. Any more discussion?
I need clarification on
Yes.
what you mean by staff comments related to the visual blocking. Mr. Riku, are you satisfied right now with the motion?
My comments were not, nor satisfied or what they're supposed to be doing. My comment, my report is for the planning commission to determine if the fence or the screening, or a combination of both, is sufficient for the overhead door. So that's,
I feel it is sufficient, so I would feel that it would be sufficient for the screening if they're willing to put them there and the fencing, so.
What would be sufficient?
The arbor, what they propose. So,
the site plan as is only for the arborvitae.
yeah, in front of visually
There's six of them, not
northbound.
four.
Sorry.
There's six.
Well, this is kind of, I mean, how much space is a brand new tree gonna take up compared to a tree in 10 years, right? So it's kind of arbitrary what we're seeing here. It's, to me, we're just beating this to death and we don't really need to do it. I agree with what you say.
So, then, do I have to clarify that? No? Okay, there's a motion, discussion, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
No.
One no, all
No,
eight.
I don't even know what we're agreeing upon, so I'm gonna say no, because I don't know what.
Okay, do we have to re-qualify that so we have a?
Well,
Say no.
the motion says to approve the site plan as shown, as
Okay.
submitted, including the overhead doors,
Yep.
and that it meet all staff comments that were
Right,
remaining
so
on
the
the site plan.
staff comment is the
So,
tap fees.
Tap fees, okay.
Yeah.
What's the tap
So
fees
that-
for?
So,
Building, the fees associated with the square footage of the building, to expand
It's
it.
unavoidable.
just that, yeah, it's just,
No, I mean, what, sewer tap, sanitary,
Yeah, right,
or
yeah.
yes.
you're gonna have a toilet in there?
No, so it's just,
So you
They
run a
need to
new
pay-
sewer line? Storage, no.
They need to pay additional sewer tap fee for the additional square footage, Marty,
Hmm.
when they do an addition.
So it's basically their,
That's part of the building permit.
yes, I'm sorry, that's what I was looking for, is a permit. All right. All right, we have a motion, and well, they're
So-
carried, right?
so I can vote, I just want to be able to vote correctly, or, so there's not any inclusion of any fixing of the fence, is that correct? You didn't make that a condition?
No, because if
That's
they
not-
fix it, it's just going to break every winter for reasons that he
Based-
described. So it's a continual repair thing based on what happens on the lot.
So this is not based upon the type of fencing they have right now that it keeps breaking, it's just any fence you put up there, it's gonna break?
They're driving snow plows into it and getting snow packed, so I don't see a way around it. And I mean, this is one of those things, just like when we were having the odor issue on Saginaw Street. If there's truly an issue and it's not being enforced,
You'd be able to enforce it in with other ways.
that's right. And so what he's demonstrated for 44 years is that he does address it.
Yes.
And when I say this is all
49.
capricious and it's not, to me, this is not a major issue, right? He's demonstrated what he's going to do. We're trying to follow the guidelines. There's reasons to pivot. He's provided them. I don't really know what more there is.
So again, I get the argument about the overhead doors. It says no reasonable alternative. I would find that there's no reasonable alternative to the doors. That's not an issue. But the ordinance says, and the visual impact will be moderated. And if the proposal is to not do that part of the ordinance, to violate our own ordinance, I can't vote for it.
It's being,
We already voted.
every single year,
We already voted.
it's being taken care
Okay, do I have to have another vote?
No?
Okay.
There's all yeas, and I had just, Mike was a nay, is that correct?
Commissioner
And I
Bolson.
was, I guess I was a nay. Oh, I was a nay because I didn't understand, but based upon what Mike said, I'm gonna vote nay.
So 2 nays.
2 nays.
Okay.
Okay, motion carries. And now to another fun topic. Building exterior, material, color.
Very good, so, I think part 3 of 3 for design, building materials design guidelines, so we talked about materials, architecture features, and, And then now I want to move on to building colors.
Yep.
So, like I said, the proposed use is to outline standards of interior materials, design, and quality, and how, obviously, this is not applicable to 1 and 2 family, but all multi-commercial, industrial, downtown, and office. Similarly, I proposed a table structure. There's only one table here, not multiple pages for colors. I'm open to suggestions. But part of this is for permitted or restricted, or in the event that it's not allowed, I've left them blank. So what we have here are essentially 4 categories: high fluorescent, earth tone, muted earth tone, and black colors. So similar to what has been, I think, common practice here. I'm not really suggesting any true deviation from that, but I'm open to suggestions. So with that being said, for high intensity fluorescent colors, we are allowing them to be restricted, meaning that they are up to 10%, no more, in the office B1, B2, B3 mixed use districts. However, not included in the industrial business district or RM1 and RM2 multifamily. Reflective is not prohibited in any of the districts. Regarding earth tones, you have longstanding practice of earth tones that include the browns, the greens, the grays, the beige. They're permitted in all the districts. Muted earth tones, so this is probably a little bit brighter colors, but they're muted, would be the orange, reds, yellows, and we could add to that maybe perhaps blue as well, permitted in all the districts. And then lastly was black. I know black has been kind of used as an accent color. I could create a different way of addressing this, but it's been, I guess, essentially restricted, no more than 10%. We could change that if you like. And then obviously we have a note there that we've carried on from the past of the use of trademark colors not meeting these requirements shall require approval from the planning commission. So like in the event like, you know, a well-known, fast food chain has certain colors, they can come to the planning commission for approval that aren't necessarily meeting this. So the intent here is just a start of building colors in essentially 4 major categories. And this is kind of a first draft of this part of the table.
Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah, this is much easier to understand,
Yeah.
Yes.
for sure.
I like that.
The question I have is right away, black, I see it restricted,
Yeah.
not that I want to talk about color, but crank, are we not calling that black?
Crank?
Yeah.
How do you define
Is it
crank?
slate?
Crank, the
Crank
building where
Cycle.
they sell bicycles.
Crank Cycle and Fitness is
Yes.
a blue and black accented building, or gray.
Because I think it looks my point is that's
Oh,
black, right?
It did.
Is it dark gray?
I guess someone could always ask for a deviation, right?
Yeah, that's what the,
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yes, we're not saying no.
Yeah, okay, good deal.
I want all the colors.
As long as it's not downtown. I think this is on pretty good guidelines right here, Alex, so, I know that's what you're basically kind of looking for a consensus up from us.
Well, I'm just trying to look for direction.
Direction, and-
We're not approving it, we're kind
No,
of
I-
putting these together.
I think, me personally, I think this is a very good direction.
Yeah.
If not, I don't even know if I'd have a really conversation any further. The blue, I think you should just put on there and just have it on there. I know you said maybe, I would
Well, I
just.
think I missed blue.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Oh,
The
yeah,
primary
blue's not
color
on
should probably be there, so it's
Good
fine.
catch.
It's, he's supposed to add it to muted earth tones in blue. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, I think that's part of the conversation here is, I could add blue to muted earth tones, I could add it to, we could make it a high intensity color. I just noticed I missed blue, which is my favorite color, but, we could add that here, and we could put it as a permitted or restricted, or, that color does go in high intensity, it does go into muted colors as well, so we could add that to the list, and you guys could, just think about it.
Okay.
Mr. Hiku, when you say blue, do you mean navy blue or Smurf blue or?
It's all of the above. It goes through high intensity, earth tone, muted, black, all of it.
This
Blue, black.
blue is an interpretation of whatever you think it is. Smurf, navy, I might call the two colors the same. Right? So what is blue? I keep going back to that.
But when you think of Smurf, you have a specific image in mind, so.
I'm just
I think we
saying,
know what that looks
7,
like.
8 different opinions.
Is that good? Are we good on that one?
Yeah, I could,
The direction you
I could
want?
add dark blue,
It-
I could expand this list, but I think this is a start, so.
Yes.
I mean,
Right, that's true.
I think of blue, the thing like, Detroit Tigers.
Yeah,
blue,
Old Navy.
New York Yankees blue is a
Navy
little
blue.
different to me, you know?
I wouldn't want that in.
I would go with the Tigers one better, but
Yeah, I
okay.
do too.
All right.
I think that's like, it's like really, it's like.
That's the line. You could add that.
Hey, as long as it's still the old school D, then you can never change that logo. All right, yes, no, we're going down rabbit holes. All right, I'm in agreement that this is definitely the direction. Okay? Any more discussion on this? I think you all, all right, good deal. Doug, you sure?
Sure. We can go
He's the
back.
color expert.
All right, yeah, you're fine. Develop activities report. We are to that part. That's pretty much as read, right?
Mr. McDougal, you got a second? Can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think after this, we're just gonna go to the training report, which I think we have something scheduled next Wednesday, right?
Yeah, right, sorry.
You do?
Yes.
No,
What?
it's in June.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was next Wednesday. Thank you for,
I'm like,
oh, no.
when are we supposed to be at?
The joint meeting.
Joint
is
meeting.
June 11th.
Joint meeting.
Oh, wow, I got that one way
Oh,
off.
sorry.
I was thinking, it's May 11th?
I'm not
I
gonna be
thought it was
around.
on a weekend.
It's on, it's
No.
it's on a
It's a Wednesday.
All right, sorry, everybody, I thought it was literally next week, and I'm like, oh, cool, we get to do it next week.
Wednesday.
There were several dates
I
on
know it's
Fridays
June
and
11th, but I think
Saturdays
that's a
and
Wednesday.
It's Thursday and Friday.
Correct.
Okay, so this is our upcoming training and
I'm
conferences.
saying it's Wednesday and Thursday.
Wednesday, June 11th.
So the 29th and 30th is a 2-day event, or am I reading?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a 2-day event.
Are you signed up yet?
No, I haven't. Thanks though. Do I have to?
You don't have to.
You can run down these, if you want, or just discussion
Yeah,
on
I
it?
mean, right, I mean, it's a carryover from last month, MSU Extension's coming in here, great opportunity.
Yes.
to hear. And then MAP has a housing webinar, part 2, I think, or 3 in the webinar for housing. And then there's a whole host of different trainings that are virtual, some are up north,
Oh, but you were gonna go
throughout the summer
Yep. Can we-
from MSU Association of Planning. So I put that link on there, you can just type in, map on Google, MSU Association of Planning, and then there's a whole host of different stuff on there that might be, just all kinds of different trainings.
Well, I would say
Excellent.
make a motion, we make that May 22nd one worth 2 trainings. That's 3.5 hours. Oh, no, it's an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah, hour and a half.
Disregard my comments.
All right. Good deal. And I'm sure that those will probably either be reminded or sent out, normally like you do, Kim, but we're good. We're good on that. All right. Now to commissioner comments. Commissioner Brady.
Well, first of all, I apologize for coming in 5 minutes late. I know
Good.
maybe that's not a big deal to some, but to me, so I'm sorry about that. And then, I know I missed the last meeting because I was sick, so I just wanted to say thank you to the city for reimbursement for the training I was able to do, for the planning and zoning 101. Super helpful, and there's still plenty of material in the packet that I received to go through, so I will be going through that and learning a lot more.
Good deal. Thank you. Commissioner Patterson.
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Atwood.
I got nothing. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Johnson.
I'm good.
Commissioner Boston.
Only that I appreciate the city scheduling the joint meeting. I am optimistic and hopeful that it's going to be a good one.
Thank you. Great. Commissioner, or Vice Chair Roberts.
just good seeing everybody. Good to see Popeyes, homes taking shape. I go by there every day.
See it every
So,
day.
good things.
Mayor Markle?
I'm good, thanks.
City Mayor Woman?
Happy Mother's Day to
Oh,
those
yes.
mothers.
Oh, yes.
And to the mothers in heaven as well.
Yes, thank you.
Did you just call me city mayor?
No, I said
Did I get an upgrade or down?
manager. City manager. Come on, I'm here. It's been a rough night.
Well, I mean, you guys know I'm a pro-business guy, and I'm trying to help move us in a direction that, you know, is pro-business and adds flexibility to the work we do here, because of course, sometimes we don't want businesses to ram their heads up against some out-of-date ordinance, which is one of the reasons I asked the question about whether it's an overhead or a sliding door. Frankly, it shouldn't matter, it's just a big, massive door, right? But honestly, I think that ordinance probably needs to go. We probably need to make that recommendation to the city commission to change that ordinance. But that being said, we're still a body of laws. We still have to follow the laws. And if we disagree with the laws, we need to make the recommendation that that law be changed. But we should not be willy-nilly, just following the laws. That's all I gotta say. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. And I have no comments either, so adjournment.
So declared?
I so declare adjournment.
I do declare.
I swear, it's weird. I literally run 3 meetings like this, and I always get mixed up. It's like, Sonic one is all ritual, and then this one is, and I have a nonprofit I run.
Say Sonic or Masonic?
Masonic.
I thought maybe you were running the Sonic fast food restaurant at the meeting.
Ooh, no.
See you guys.
Yeah, see ya. No, I'm worshipful master of the Beer Lodge. But it's like one after another. It's like, I know, right?
Did you get voluntold to do that, or?
No, it took me 12 years to get there. So I started out in our pyramid scheme. Well, as some would say about us.